standpoint. Listen to the feminine side. The standpoint. Still listen to the feminine side. The standpoint.
All too soon, February is coming to an end, but not without bringing you our last couple for the month of love and marriage. Aha! You'll be excited. Today, we have that celebrity couple here to share their love story, their marriage, and how it feels like to be in the public eye and still manage your home, your marriage, and keep the love going. Let me say thank you to Habarata Fabrics for my tie and dye fabric. Thank you so much. My dress is by Bri Redua. I'm so grateful to you. Hair by Auntie Alice Skills Training Center at Chado and East Legon. I'm so grateful to them. Makeup products by Silver Queen Cosmetics. They actually sell Note Cosmetics. I'm so grateful to them. And then my beautiful makeup, yes, me, I may believe him. It's by Art J. Claude Beauty. Thank you so much to him. And of course, my beads, my necklace by Twinny Crafts. We take a break. When we come back, we meet Ajete Anand Pusha and his beautiful wife, Elom. We'll be back.
The standpoint. The standpoint.
Welcome back to The Standpoint. I can't believe the month of love is almost over. Well, I'm glad because I'm ending with the right couple, you know. My friend, I follow them, you know, on social media, especially Instagram like that. I go in there, so do kokonsa small every now and then. But let me say thank you to Vena Mineral Water for the support. Juice Time, 100% fruit juices. House of Food, Auntie Vera and the team always ready to support us. We are grateful. Phoenix Bridal Decor for a beautiful set. And then, of course, Yep Cleaning Services. They take care of our environment. They make sure that we have a very neat, you know, environment to operate in. And my guests, yes, I know when I introduced them during the intro, so you're all seated waiting. Kokonsafo, okay, don't worry. I have seated right next to me, Ajete Anand, who's an actor, a lecturer, influencer, and entrepreneur. Welcome to The Standpoint. Finally, it's about to go down. And his beautiful wife, Elom Anand, who is a banker. She is a banker and entrepreneur. Welcome to The Standpoint.
Thank you, Auntie Gifty.
Oh, you told me more.
excited.
Do you understand?
Oh, goodness, really?
Do you understand, God?
Oh,
you told me
yeah.
more.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
Oh,
yes. Welcome to The Standpoint.
Thank you.
What's the most comment you get when people get to know that you are married to Ajitiano?
How do you feel when he kisses people in movies? That's like 99% of the time. And I wonder, and they're always like, how do you feel when he's playing romantic roles? How do you feel when he's... And I asked him, how would you feel if your husband were having a romantic moment with someone? I said, oh, but that one is not real. I said, it's the same thing. It's another human being.
It's another human being.
So I feel the way you would feel, you know, and then we laugh it off. But I get that a lot.
Yeah.
I get that a lot.
Every interview they ask you that. How long have you been married?
In March will be 16 years next month.
Wow. Yeah. You look like 16 years yourself.
Thank you. Really? Even though I know it's not true.
Oh, it's true. You look like 16 years.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
16 years. Yeah. How would you describe your marriage? You.
Oh, it's to me. Oh,
no, yes, I'm still talking to you. Hello. They say ladies first, so we go to ladies first.
How would I describe our marriage? Yeah. It's a work in progress. And we've made progress. So it's been fun, it's been tough, it's been exciting, it's been difficult, it's been beautiful, it's been ugly, it's been sweet, it's been painful.
It's been marriage.
It's been marriage. All of that together. Yeah.
So I realized that you had started like a program. Was it like a cooking something? You started, the two of you started Something on social media you do together?
We're doing, okay, so we started a creative arts company. That was last year. We started a creative arts company. It's a partnership with a few other people. So we partnered some creative and business professionals to do drama, dance. We're hoping to start doing films, documentaries, etc. So both of us were in the School of Performing Arts. And we met just before. In fact, we met on Things We Do for Love set. I went there just for fun.
Oh, really?
And that's how we met. So he was already in the program, and then I went there. I thought it was just for a little while, and then I found him. So that's how we met.
You had so many ladies on the set. When she walked in, what did you see?
I saw a very pretty girl, who was by herself, but you just got a sense that she was from a good home in terms of how she comported herself, how she carried herself, and even content of what she spoke about, and that for me was a bit striking because you don't always get that. I don't really spot that easily, and that was what wanted me to get to know more about her. So that's where it took off. Yeah.
Did you get to talk to her the very first day you saw her?
Oh no. No, I didn't. I remember I didn't. I just observed it from afar. It took a little more, a couple of times before I did. Yeah.
I was saying you went on the set for fun. Really, for fun.
I promise. So, I promise. I was working at, I was working at Ghana International School at the time. I was a teaching assistant at GIS. And some of the actors and Things We Do for Love were students there at the time. So there were flyers on campus auditioning for roles. And I thought, oh, that's exciting. I mean, I've always loved theater, drama, performing arts. I've always loved it. But I never saw myself going on stage because a part of me was very shy and extremely self-conscious.
I just think, what was the meaning of that? He did his eyes. When he said shy, he did something.
He doesn't believe I'm shy.
Yeah, Ben, yeah. I mean,
but well, when I say shy, I'm confident, but I'm very self-conscious. I'm very aware of my weaknesses and my imperfections. So I felt like I can't be on a screen. I can't. There'll be just too much that I would see going wrong, So I sent the flyers and images of it to my friends. Oh, there's an audition for Things We Do for Love. Why don't you come? And and a lot of them started asking me, why don't you audition? I said, oh, I can't be an actress. It's just, So a few of my friends were like, actually, you should, Then I said, okay, fine, let's all go. So we went. There was a role that we were auditioning for, and then I got picked for them. I was like, what did I want to see? Why me? Why? And that was how I got in. And I just thought it was an adventure at the beginning, and I got curious, and I was like, oh, so I'm actually going to get to meet this person and that person. I was like, oh, the one I really want to meet is Pusha.
There was a spark in there.
The one I really want, I just want to know, how he is, because I've heard he's different offset, so I just wanted to know. But I had seen him before that. His sister was actually like a mentor. In a young women's group that I joined, a fellowship I joined at Rich Church at the time. So I knew she was Pusha's sister, but I had never spoken to her about him. And then they lived in Osu at a place I used to spend holidays in sometimes. So I used to see him walking from the Kingdom Bookshop area through the stadium.
I just say whatever she says, don't mind her.
Through the
she has spotted you.
Oh,
I had
spotted him.
Oh yes,
I had spotted him, but it wasn't at that time. I don't know what it was. It wasn't a crush. It was just curiosity to get to know a little more about him. So I spotted him, and I thought it was cute.
You were determined.
He always had.
You knew what you wanted, and you went for it. You are determined.
Okay, you can say that.
I trust you now. You knew what you wanted.
But I had he always had a little baby. He used to walk his sister's kids, and he would keep them either on his shoulder or cradling them like this and do a long walk across the area. So I used to actually go and stand out waiting to see.
She has given herself away.
I've never told this story before. I don't know how you got this out of me. So I noticed that about him. So when I saw him on set, I was curious. I was interested in getting to know more about him. But that was like that how it started. Yeah.
Do you believe in God?
I do.
Yeah, I know you're a very, godly person. You were a woman of God in your own right.
Yeah.
So when they say God works in mysterious ways,
I agree.
And He answers prayers.
I agree.
He listens to the cries of our hearts.
I agree totally.
And He will give us what we ask for.
I agree totally. I mean, years down the line, we had a chat recently, and I was telling him I actually know why we got together. We now know why we met and why it all happened the way it did. We understand that now. So, yeah, God's design.
Hallelujah, sister.
Amen.
In fact, we need to give you a platform to talk about how to catch the eye of the man you want.
At the time I met him, I had a boyfriend. That's a story for a different day. I don't want him to feel good.
Okay, now let me come to it. 16 years.
Yes.
How has it been for you?
It's been what I normally describe as zoo soup.
Yeah.
Zoo soup. I mean, it has
Everything
everything there is that. So just like she said, you know, the ups and downs, the laughter, the cries. It's been just a typical marriage, and it just reminds you that look, you either in it or you're out, and you can't just stay in it and be lukewarm, hot or cold.
What made you take that bold step of marrying her? Was it love?
It was a combination of love, but admiration, respect for a young lady who was very matured. And even her lines of conversation, you realize that no, this girl is homebred, and then her respect for, and then the fear of God as well. And she was also involved in the children's service in church, and so that was, you know, actually at that time it was her world then. And I thought that I also had this connection with young people, so the connection was also there. So admiration, respect, and love.
Did you have the conversation about what you do and the possible pit holes and potholes and manholes that it comes with? Did you have that conversation before you got married?
I didn't think that we did. We didn't because, like, fortunately for me too, she had been at the School of Performing Arts, so she knew what she's participated in some productions, so she knew, you know, much about what it meant to play characters and when you're not, and then so she wasn't ignorant about most of these things. So it just more or less worked out.
But did your acting career at a point become a problem?
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
It did.
I mean, before we got married, if I can come in, there was an incident he told me about, which got me realizing that there's a lot more, you know, dangers out there about the profession. But I never had any doubts that this is what he was supposed to do. And so for me, it was like, if there's a problem or if there are challenges that have to be dealt with, they have to be dealt with. We don't have to run away from them. We have to face them and you know, and figure out how to solve the problem. So definitely, from the beginning, we knew that there were certain things that were going to come up. But along the line, a whole lot came up.
What did people say to you when it came out that you're going to marry Ajite? You know, the pusher. What were some of the comments that you said?
Oh, my mom didn't like him. My mom
liked the off the screen, right? On the screen, but not on
I mean, she was fine watching a character on TV, but he can't come and marry her daughter. Her only daughter.
No, not that pusher.
So she was like, who is he? Like, where does he come from? What kind of family does he come from? What kind of people are these? You know, it's fine to watch him for entertainment, but when it's about marriage, it's a different story. So she was against him from the beginning. I mean, I had to pray about it because I was really scared that she was going to be very hostile to him. She was a little in the beginning. So what broke the ice was...
Why are you laughing?
One
you remember
day-
that incident? Tell me about it.
Little
What was that
things.
incident?
Little
Tell me
things.
about it. What happened?
This is when I came in. I was sitting, you know, in the corridor, you know,
And then she was passing through. She was moving from the kitchen to the bedroom, and then I said, "Good afternoon." that was a response.
Yeah, typical. But
And then she
my
walked
mom
past.
was not
She didn't even look my
comfortable
way,
with the
yeah.
relationship at all.
Yeah.
But what made her comfortable? I went to his house one day. I went to visit his mom, and then I saw an obituary, a funeral brochure on the table, and the person was my mom's classmate. So I was like, oh, I know this man. He was my mom's classmate. And then his mom asked me, oh, that's my younger sister's classmate too. So which school? And I said, well, Ashimoto School. And then she was like, oh, your mom was in Ashimoto School. Then she was my sister's mate. So she asked me, what's your mom's name? And I said, she's like, you are Chari's daughter. But when did Chari start having kids and her daughter is so grown up? Because her younger sister's kids were much younger, you know. So then her mom was like, oh, I know his mom was, sorry, I know your family. I know your mom, her siblings, her mom. I know everybody, you know. So I got excited. I started asking more questions. And then I went to tell my mom that, oh, this is the family that he comes from. And my mom was like, oh, I know his family. said, oh, they are good people. Is that just his family? I said, yes, that's his family. That was what.
She couldn't believe it.
That was what made.
Yeah,
that was what. I mean, for her, it was like, oh, he comes from a good home, you know, and she just let it go. So
And
that's
it's been
how.
16 years.
It's been 16 years.
Are you close with her now?
Oh, we're the closest. I mean,
she
was
died
a wonderful
in 2020.
In 2020,
Yeah.
may she rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me take a break. When we come back, we'll continue with this to look at the breaking point.
Hey.
You're watching the Standpoint. Okay, let me say thank you to Habarata Fabrics for my tie and dye fabric, supporting the, young industry. I remember the early days of my profession, which, turned 26 years on 13th of February 2023. You see, have you seen them? Or do it, sharing the thing behind the scenes. Or do it. That is love. You would have done the same thing. Dresses by Brie Redua. Thank you so much. And then my beads and necklace from Twinny Crafts and my hair, Auntie Alice. Skills training at Chado. Thank you to J. Claude for my makeup. We take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some more.
The Standpoint. The Standpoint.
Welcome back to the Standpoint. Ajite, what were your expectations when you got married?
Oh, because I had a template.
Like you had a template from the movies or storybooks?
No, from my parents.
It's okay.
So it was more like, doing pretty much almost opposite what I had experienced with them.
Okay.
And so it was clear cut. I had a vision. I had, what I needed to do, be there for her. Because
what you didn't want. You knew what you didn't want.
Yeah. So that's rightly put. I knew what I didn't want, but not really what
you wanted.
What you really wanted. And so I was looking on that template. Perhaps they had disadvantages doing that, but basically that I wasn't going to be away. I was going to be involved in everything that happens at home, and make sure that I keep us together, no third parties, etc. And so this was the vision that I had, making sure that the foundation of Christianity was not just in word, but just we were practicing Christians, so that it just not be Sunday churchgoers, as it were. And so those are a few of the things that I had in mind. Yeah.
And when you went in, did it happen like that?
Not exactly. Not exactly. Because you might have a template, but there's, like she rightly said, not knowing what you didn't want, but you also putting into effect what you want, and because every relationship is unique in that sense, and so I realized that there's so many things that I need to unlearn, given the fact that I've come from a compound house where I had uncles and aunties in that same space, and they all had their own, ideas of bringing up children and how they relate to their wives, and some of them vividly we would experience them in those spaces, and different perceptions, etc. And so we're speaking bits and pieces here and there. It may not have been a big deal then, but then later on in life, with my relationship with him, I was unconsciously, meeting that out on her, and then you get to realize that, wow, I mean, even at that space, what we take in has an impact, later in life, and so, we had serious challenges.
You talked about the fact that Elom was teaching the Sunday school,
That's right.
and you loved that about her,
Yes.
because you love kids and all that, and then you got married, and for how many years?
6-7 years.
I got pregnant in the 7th year.
The 7th year, so
Yeah.
6
I had him in the
6
8th year
years.
in January. Yeah.
And the child was not coming.
Yeah.
How was that for you? Most of the time we talk about the women, how we feel,
Yeah.
but as a man,
It was uncomfortable, but I feed off her because she's a woman. I didn't really care much. The only thing that made it a bit sensitive for me was because I was known out there, so everybody's spoken into my business in that sense.
Yes.
What people would look out for, whether there's a kid coming or media taking it up, etc. So that made me a bit uncomfortable, but more so how she reacted and how she felt. Most of the time when I felt a bit down was when we continuously had to go for outdooring
Yeah,
invites,
I know that
and you know,
one,
it
yeah.
kept coming.
And then people
and
tell you, oh, next year, the next
next
one
year
will
we're
be
praying
yours.
for you.
We're praying
Yeah,
for
we
you.
pray for you.
You know,
Next time it's going to be you.
you know, and
yeah.
all the experiences, even in church, where people would come to the extent of trying to give you something in a blind side. Don't tell her. For them, the motivation is, well, they want to help you out, but it's not really not needed in that way. And I felt that he even felt offended that I rejected it, because he said it was something that some old lady gave her in Togo, and it works magic, you know. But I'm like, you know, so these are the things people see you, they stop you. Well, we are praying for you. You get, when you're not even thinking about that, because we got into a point where we're like, you know, let's just live our lives. And in hindsight, you could tell that there was a reason why we needed to do some bonding. If the child had come in earlier on, would have been challenging. And so there were things that we needed to really connect. Even that, we still hadn't, you know, done a lot of growing, if you will, and at least on my part. So it was tough. It was tough. I pretended most of the time that, you know, I just need to keep a cool head so that she's not down. Yeah, but in there, I was hoping that, look, let the baby come. You know, even though my parents and my family didn't really put any pressure on me and on us, they didn't bring the subject up anytime ever. But that, you know, you get a sense that, look, if the baby comes, everybody's going to go, yay, you know. So
and finally, was she the one who came to tell you that she's pregnant, or it was a doctor? How did it happen?
Confirmation from the hospital, and then I sent him a message. Yeah.
You sent him a message?
Yeah.
Where were you when you got the message? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. But how do you remember how you felt?
So it was bittersweet, in the sense that I was cautious not to get too excited, because previously we've had a few miscarriages. You know, so you didn't want to get too excited. You were hoping that this one will stay. So I just had to contain my excitement, and still hoping there was a bit of fear. So that what if? But I decided to just remain positive. So in the very, very early stages, when the news came in, I was in that very, very late.
Let me tease you a bit. Were you afraid to be intimate when the early stages?
The early stages. Yes. Yes, I was.
You were saying you're afraid.
He was bad. He was bad.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, bad.
Did you know that as for this one, it will stay?
No, I didn't at all. I was really frightened throughout. It was a very... I mean, I developed hypertension. That's what, you know, I was worrying about every little thing, every movement, every pain in my leg, in my tummy, in my back. Everything meant something is wrong to me. So I lived the entire 9 months in fear.
Finally, this one said that I'm here to stay. What's his name?
Yeah, Ryan.
Ryan. What's the meaning of Ryan?
Ryan means descendants of the king, child of the king.
Did you name him before? Did you guys give him a name before he was born?
I had the name.
You had the name.
I had the name, yeah.
So you started calling him Ryan. Ryan, right in your...
Ryan means little king, child of the king, descendants of the king.
What was the breaking point in your marriage? I'm sure there's been a few breaking points, but what was the breaking point when you felt like, Sally, this one there, I don't know, the clouds are there. You don't need to give details.
So we've had a few. maybe the earlier ones, I felt that they were the worst, and then another one would happen and it was worse than the one you thought was the worst. So it was more of my fear at a point that I didn't really know him as well as I thought I did, because he has multiple layers, and that's typical of an actor. He knows how to live a different life if he has to. He can live in his mind. He can create a world around him and live in it, you know, by himself and whoever else he allows in that space. So he can do that very skillfully. And so some of the things that I realized at a point made me ask myself if I made a mistake, because anybody who knows me well enough knows that I'm very straightforward. I don't mince my words. I don't like to pretend. I hate pretense. I hate complications. I like relationships to just be what they are. So if I'm uncomfortable about something, I believe in saying, that's how my mom was. Just say that you don't like this, and then the person gets to know how you feel. Don't keep it and, you know, brood over it when the other person has no idea that you're actually going through this. So that's me. He's the exact opposite of that. He needs to process things internally, deal with issues, no matter how frightening they are. I mean, I sometimes tell him that he's the kind, I'll give you a typical example. Before we got married, he was driving on the motorway one day. He was working in Tema at the time, coming home, and then he got attacked by armed robbers. So they stopped his car, and they were standing on either side of the window. One had a knife and one had a gun. My husband won't react. He's not afraid. He's not, well, the worst they can do is kill me, and if they kill me, that's fine. I'm gone. I don't feel the pain. He's not even processing anything in his mind. It's not like at that moment he is, you know, figuring out what I'm going to do. No, is whatever happens is what will happen. So you won't get a reaction out of him. You won't get, I mean, he has a typical phlegmatic temperament. We studied temperaments along the line. I was like, this is it. And he's extreme in that side of his temperament. He can be very oblivious of what's going on. Oh, I can imagine. He can be extremely oblivious of what's going on around him.
Then he will just look at you.
It's like, why the drama? Like, what's going on? Something dangerous is about to happen, and you know, he's totally unperturbed. So that's,
and he'll come home and sleep quiet.
Yes. So he told me. So when he came, we hadn't yet gotten married, and I'd been trying to call him. They took his phone, they took all his money, and his car had broken down, and that was how come they got him, you know, with the car stopped. So when he got home later in the evening, and at that time, I think, who did I call? I called somebody near her. There was a guy he used to work with. So I called him. I said, I'm trying to reach Ajit. I've been calling him for a few hours, and he was supposed to come here, you know, and he was like, oh, he left work about 3 hours ago. I said, exactly. It shouldn't take him more than an hour to get here. So nobody could reach him. Then I think he finally reached out to someone and let them know that he had, you know, and he called me very late in the night and sounded very composed, very calm, very peaceful. Oh, I got attacked by armed robbers on the motor. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Like, and he was like, yeah, they had a knife and a gun. A knife and a gun? Like, is that, you know, this is him. Somebody told me a story about a guy who was working on a railway in the UK and with his friend, and there was a train approaching, and the guy was like, train they come. And the guy was like, he said, you know, I'm standing with my friend and he's saying train they come in a very calm tone. So you know, this guy's on his phone and he wasn't thinking. He said, Charlie, bro, train they come. Like, that's how I just would have. Train they come, we are going to die. And, you know, this is, so I struggled with that. In fact, at the beginning, for me, it was attractive in the early years of getting to know him, because it meant to me that he was mature, he was calm, composed, you know, and because I can easily get into a frenzy about little things, so I felt like, oh, this guy will keep me composed. He's the best one for me. He's, oh my God.
Until when the marriage comes and you realize that yes,
what's happening? You know, this is dangerous. This is risky. This is, why are you not seeing it that way? So that was like one of the big challenges for me, you know, and that happened with so many different things, associations with certain kinds of people, and, you know, allowing certain people too close to, you know, and I'm thinking, are we really realizing that, you know, we're exposing ourselves, we're exposing a lot, you know, out there, but he didn't really, he thought, oh, I'll just get it over, and I mean, I'll just when it's time to brush these things off, I'll just brush them off, and, you know, so that's kind of.
Is he one of those that doesn't really want to talk through it, because they were time.
In the beginning, it was like that. He didn't want to talk through anything. He just thought I was overreacting with a lot of things. So if anything happened and we needed to sit and talk, if I tell him we have to talk, I've disturbed his day.
I'm sure he said he's just thinking, am I sitting and these two women are talking about me and a certain man?
Now he's much better. But if
I've
I ever sent him a message,
hallelujah.
If I ever tell him or told him,
okay, Elon, hold on. What made you learn?
Discuss something.
What made you learn?
What made me learn? The first and foremost, I was ruining myself. You know, it started with me and realization that, you know, you're damaging yourself, and so there's a need for me to this. And when I do that, of course, it affects everybody who is close to me. So yeah.
So you learned. No, what is that happened that shook you?
Shall I say?
Oh,
that shook you. That made
you say me.
No, you say it yourself. You say it yourself. What made you that shook you to say, Charlie? I'm messing up myself. If I'm not careful, I'm losing my family. Because if you lose yourself, you mess up yourself. It affects.
She said when I come back, she will not be there.
Is that what?
She will not be there.
She will not, by the time you come back, she won't be there. That's right. That's Ramity. That's why you told him. By the time you get here, I'm
I
gone.
used to say, and I've stopped saying that. I mean, I've been convicted by the Holy Spirit. I used to say, I'm not afraid of divorce. I used to tell him very open, I'm not afraid of divorce. I'm not going to let you ruin my life. I know a lot of women whose lives have been ruined by marriages that they just had to stay in because of keeping up appearances and society's expectations and all that. And I know someone who actually had to go through psychiatric and still is, you know, because of a relationship and, you know, keeping tight-lipped about things that are ruining you and affecting your mental state and, you know, and then when you see things going wrong and you draw attention, you're gaslighted. It's like, are you crazy? How could you even imagine this? How could you even, why are you thinking this way? Why are you, and you know what you've seen, you know what you've heard, and you're confused, you know. So I told him, I'm not going to let you.
But you said you're not saying that anymore. That's good. Let me take another break. When we come back, we'll look at what keeps you going. How do you sustain the love? What is your love language? What is that thing that you do? I mean, the child was something you were looking forward to. Finally, the child came in, and I'm sure somehow your world suddenly became all about the child. And I'm sure at a point, I'm talking from experience, you nearly lost each other. You forgot that you need each other. Everything was about the child, right? Okay, let me say thank you to Venal Mineral Water. Juice time, 100% juicy, House of Food, Auntie Vera and the team, thank you so much. Mrs. Oforipoku, we are grateful to you. Yep Cleaning Services, thank you. And the Phoenix Bridal Decor for this beautiful decor. We take a break. When we come back, I can't believe it's almost 1 hour. Hey, it's not a nice crowd. Okay, we'll be back.
The Standpoint. The Standpoint.
Welcome back to The Standpoint. I'm talking to Ajete and Elom Annan. Beautiful couple. That's interesting. The two of you, which one is more romantic? She's more romantic. So your romance is only in
I try.
Your romance is only.
I mean,
It's
on
only.
the scale of age, she's ahead of me.
But you try.
I'm catching up.
He tries, eh? Small.
He's trying.
Yeah.
He's improved. I mean,
He's
much
improved.
better.
Yes. But you had to teach him small.
Remind him, oh, you didn't do this, you should have done that. There were times I used to get mad at the things that he wasn't doing or forgetting and all that, but I think he's improved a lot.
What has been your love language, Aditi?
It's been it's evolved actually. It has, hasn't it? But it's more of physical touch. But that's not number one. It's more work to do. How do you term that? Acts of service. That's it.
Yeah.
Acts of service. And I found that it was.
That's what I'm talking about. At a point in time, I saw the two of you. You know, you cooked together. I saw those videos.
We did
Those
that.
videos.
That was
Yes.
anniversary, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
4 years
yeah. So for example, I come back from work and maybe the kitchen is a bit untidy, the dishes are unwashed, and then I go in there, you know. I know that when she comes in tired from work and the place is spick and span, she's happy, it relaxes a bit, and of course technically I score points as well. So,
Hallelujah.
you know,
And it makes things easier in the bedroom.
that's what I mean by technical points.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that too. But basically, you know, I'm not of the school that, you know, places that this is what wives should do. This one, no. You know,
I hate washing dishes,
the sharing
so I was happy about that
responsibilities.
one.
Yeah, so, and ironing, and so I
ironing,
take charge
yes,
of those
I don't
things.
like
I mean,
ironing,
so those acts of service, you know, mainly are, and then of course, just having that bond, that closeness.
But now I think the
physically.
touch is more than the acts of service.
Yeah.
Now he likes that. In fact, so I went into marriage not liking to be touched.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I mean, I literally.
You have suffered.
He would touch me in the night. I'm asleep, and I'll take his hand and throw it off.
We are not quarreling too.
Oh, but you do.
I didn't know.
You didn't
I didn't know I was doing that. So I mean, my youngest brother, not little, he's a big boy, he's a big man now, but my youngest brother used to be very touchy when we were growing up. He would literally come and put his hand in your armpit when you're watching TV and cuddle and hold your tummy, and I was very uncomfortable about it, so I didn't like it. And so I'm sitting there, just say, during the day, if he does that, and I'm conscious that, okay, he's my husband, I have to behave. But in the night, I didn't know I was doing that. I used to throw his hands off, push him, turn into the corner and just curl up by myself. And so I'd wake up and
fall off the bed. When she went to the corner.
And he thought it was intentional. I didn't know I was doing that. So I'd wake up in the morning and he's moody. I'm like, what happened? We just woke up. Nothing. And he won't say until later in the day. He tells me, I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know I did that, So I actually started praying about it because I started feeling like it was affecting our relationship. Yeah. But so I think he likes touch. Now I think I'm doing well accepting that.
Is he doing well?
But
Okay.
but me, on the other hand,
Words of affirmation.
I want you to tell me
Yeah.
truth. I like to hear words. I like to hear, and because of that, because I like talking and I like to be reassured, and I want you to tell me you love me and you like my hair, you like my this and you like my that. So if you tell a lie to me, you kill me, because then you take what is love to me and you turn it upside down. So that's my first love language. And then I love gifts. I love gifts. Anything gifts.
Anything gifts.
Surprises, cupcakes and flowers and
Miss Romantic.
yeah. I remember when I started telling him, I just said I like flowers, and then he would buy me a bouquet of artificial flowers. I'm like, I want fresh flowers.
Yes,
I mean, he was like, he didn't know why. He said, oh, but these ones will last longer. I'm like, what's that for decor? Don't bring them to me. I mean, he was just being logical. These ones will last longer. I don't want those ones. So we've gone through different cycles,
right?
of that,
Okay.
yeah.
When would you say that you bonded better after you had your child?
I think that before we had him and soon after we had him, I became more conscious of what we were not doing right. I became more conscious of things that we had ignored, that we were not paying attention to in our communication, in intentionally spending time together, in our relationship. I used to tell him that I felt like we had a better relationship in the public than when it was just the two of us. So we learned, or I learned
And that
earlier.
was so painful, eh?
Yes, and so for me, it felt like it was just to look good out there, and so and I didn't want that to be the best part of our relationship. So I think after we had him, just before and after we had him, I started to see all the cracks, and then we started to work on it. So I really think maybe after and a while after him, things got much better in terms of our...
So would you say that just when you decided to intentionally do things, be conscious about things that you need to do to make the relationship work? You have come a long way.
Yeah, a long way. And then again, I mean, look, this is God's institution, and sometimes we do this without God. And I think that it's hard enough when God is even part of it, because then there's so many things that want to make sure that doesn't work, and so also submitting to this higher being, that you are in control. This is you are the manual, and so I need to reach out to you to really guide me in so that it's not like I know it all. And that was the posture for me. And then that, Lord, I have everything under control. I'm cool. I'm better off. And you see, the sad thing was also that I was comparing myself to the people that I shouldn't have. So I was looking at my uncles, I was looking at my parents, not looking at a higher kind of, but I'm way better than them. I've stuck to my wife, I've done this, I've done
and that's something that
you're comparing yourself to those who are worse than you instead of those that are better than you.
And that's something I realize is happening in a lot of marriages. But these people are worse. I'm better than this. Do you know what this person is doing? So we compare with those who are doing worse than us and think that we are doing better. So
it had its own cracks that it began to widen, but we've come a long way.
So what have you been doing to sustain the love in the marriage now?
I think for me, one of the things major, because it's a major one for me, is personal boundaries. and it is in relation to funds. Being thrown into a social media space that I had no knowledge of. I wasn't sensitized on it. Those days there was nothing like that. And then immediately you go onto social media space and everybody's like, hey, saying words that you haven't heard before, commending you, doing that, and you feel like you have to. There's a connection, and you have to give back, and so it starts there before you realize you're flirting. It carries on, and having those personal boundaries.
Some people take it really personal. Yeah.
It's something that I've taken very seriously, and now even if there's an event where I have to go, and there's no invite for her, I'm not gonna go. Not because I'm afraid, but I'm protecting our marriage, and so if I have to even go without her, then we've discussed it. We've put things in place, and we know that it's safe. So personal boundaries is one. Another major thing is sharing responsibilities. I think we talked about that. Surprises, I like that.
Hey, now you've been doing surprises.
Surprises. It's something that it keeps me on my toes as well. Thinking of, okay, what next? What can I do that would blow her mind?
So you're always thinking about doing something to spice out the marriage.
For the next one, it's been a while.
Oh, and not me. Oh, so you're always, looking.
Oh, it hasn't been a while. Come on, 2 weeks ago, I drove into your office.
That one.
It was even in 2 weeks.
It's about 2
weeks.
or more.
Or 2 weeks. About 2 weeks.
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
What about the words of affirmation?
Oh,
you're
I try.
doing well.
I try. In text, in words. Yeah. Text, yeah.
But we interviewed a couple, a pastor and his wife, and the pastor made a comment that has really stayed with me. He said he made that decision that he would not create a room to start a rumor that is not true and may cause his marriage.
That's right.
So though everybody will say, and his was, he will never take a woman in his car if his wife is not in the car. So as a pastor,
That's a good one.
if he's called Adon by women, female term, there's something he goes with his wife. He just decided to do that.
That's right.
Because we are all human beings. In anything, can happen. So, I respect what you just said, that if you get an invitation, because people are bound to like doing that. Oh, it's push I want. I don't want his wife, that kind of. But you are an item, you two. The two shall be one. So you go there. So that's really beautiful to know. So what's the next step now? When are you renewing your vows?
We did, it wasn't quite our decision. It was something we did with Joy FM Multimedia. Did bridal fair and invited us to be like the feature couple. Okay. So then we did a renewal of ours. I thought it was not something we should just do for fun. So we got our pastor to be there, one of our pastor friends to be there to actually officiate the exchange of vows, because we didn't want it to just be a playful thing, But but he says we'll do another one. So
you do another one.
That's what he said. So
when
we'll discuss that. So the timing is right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one is his initiative, so I'm waiting for that.
You can't wait. You
You
can't wait.
I got.
Oh, that's good to know. That's good to wish you well.
Thank you so
Congratulations.
much.
And I'm sure you also feel the weight of people. People like us, we are in the public, so it's like, Charlie, you can't afford you feel. I'm one of those who say that, listen, you do think about you, but there's a number of people who look up to us.
Exactly.
If you are not careful and you don't get the right, the number of people you will drag down with you, the number of people looking up to you and staying married because you are still married, is amazing, overwhelming. You have no idea.
Yeah, sometimes I get messages from people and I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't even know these people. And
and the painful aspect is when they think everything is rosy for you. Everything is perfect, but they don't know that behind the scenes you have your own struggles.
Yeah, I'm always quick to tell them though, so that they don't expect too much. If you ask me, I'll tell you. Don't think that it's perfect.
Right.
Don't think so. I don't give you details, but I'll just tell you that nobody has it all together. So we have to look nice outside. We can't, if we just had a fight and we have an event, we cannot get in public fighting. But we will deal with the issues later. But out there, we will look nice and happy. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that that's all that there is to our marriage.
I have a pastor friend who says anytime he fights with his wife, he doesn't preach. He doesn't like to pretend. Yeah. Because you will say it. That. You on the pulpit he said, and it will worsen the case, so he will preach. He will
say something that will make his wife say, "Look at him."
Yeah, you know. Look at him. In conclusion, both of you are a celebrity couple, but you are the one who is really in the public eye. Your everything you do is. I remember that picture you had on a billboard with a gun, and it became something. I was like, because I'm not, I like to cry. Cartel. It became, he's a role model. He doesn't have to. I was just wondering, this is simple. But anyway, that's why your mother used to say, I'm just kidding. But what do you think we need to do? I mean, celebrities, especially the males, what do they have to do to make sure that we break this thing that has been thrown into the air that's working against marriages?
I don't even know where to start from there, because there are a number of things that we're not doing, and I think that for us, and if you look at even how we interact with people we work with from set and how it spills over, is that I think that we're a bit too loose. And so when we come on set, there's this everything goes. I can touch your butt and it's okay, but because when we do that, you can
get your female colleague and dress in front of you
and I think that we everybody, especially the male, should have personal boundaries. There are certain lines that we shouldn't cross. Because we're out there taking up characters and taking up stories, telling people's stories, being the voice for the voiceless out there, and telling them, okay, watch out for these things. And yet we are not allowing those messages to inform us and practicing those things. And I think that we have to really sit up and know that, like you rightly said, there's so many people that are looking up to us directly or indirectly, and it's like we've been given lives in our hands just because of our craft, and we have to be conscious about what we're doing each and every day, knowing that what choices that we make today would have repercussions out there. Be a bit more sensitive, but personal boundaries is indeed very, very crucial.
Elom, what is that one thing that you've not said to Ajiti in a very long while? The positive or not the negative, I want you to look at it and say something to him, even as we wrap up the month of love with you, to your husband. So many things are going through your mind.
Yes, and I'm to be honest, what I'm trying to say, I've probably said it to him. I've probably said it to him not too long ago. So, okay, maybe I've never said this to you before. So, I'll always have your back.
I got you. That's so sweet. That's a powerful one. I'll always have your back. Yeah. And what does it mean, always have your back?
Sometimes it means I'll like this, but positively, I think I always look out for what he's not seeing, and I'll always give him the, heads up about what he needs to look out for, and I'll be there when he's falling. I'll catch him. I'll be there to, keep him warm and cozy, and make him know that he's got someone looking out for him.
I didn't. What about you? I'll catch your back. What is that saying you haven't said to her?
You're the reason why I'm still here.
Oh. Yeah. I'm sure it's not good.
You're on earth.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kiss.
Oh.
Kiss.
our son is here. I beg our
You think he doesn't know you guys?
Oh, he knows, but he hasn't seen.
That's the seed, he knows.
Oh, thank you so much
Thank you
for
too.
coming
Thank
on
you.
to share. Thank you for being
Yeah.
candid, and I'm sure that you know I have learned something, and I'm sure that lots of people have learned something. You've been married how many years? 16 years.
15, going on 16 in March.
15 going on 16 in March. I've been married 7 years. Maybe I'm still at the the Superman. They keep everything inside. Macho. I'm a chief. I can handle it. Don't worry. I won't let you worry. Then, hey, I'm at that stage, so I'm still learning. So what do I have to do? I have to increase prayer.
Yes. I think number one. Number one.
Thank you so much.
Everybody's journey is unique.
Unique,
Everybody's
exactly,
journey is
exactly,
unique, yeah.
exactly. Wish you love, wish you
so
peace,
much.
we wish you many more years.
Thank
You know,
I'm
may
so
God grant
grateful.
your heart desire.
Thank you.
May love lead.
Thank you.
So I've been talking to the Anans, Gifty and Elom. Thank you. I'll be back with a bit of me. Indeed, no one knows the mind construction of a man, of a woman. We are all different in our own ways. I mean, we are all unique in our own ways, interacting with 4 different couples over this period of time, interviewing them, listening to their stories, has confirmed and also taught me a lot of lessons. Every marriage is unique. There's no point comparing your marriage with anybody's marriage. Absolutely not. And don't think that because somebody is worse than yours, yours is okay. No. Somebody's doing much better than you. So you always aim at doing better. If you think you are best, then do your very best. I've said it before, even the most brilliant persons amongst us, even the most successful people, strive to achieve some more. Marriage is indeed a journey, interesting journey. The lows, the highs, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, all comes in. And each of the couples I've interacted with have had their own breaking point. But what made them overcome or jump that hurdle is uniquely their strategy. Somehow there's an underlining common principles. First, God. Going to God, praying about it. Second, making a conscious effort to make it work. Third, making a decision to change some of the things you know or they individually know they are doing that is destroying that marriage. Fourth, trying their best to put the other person first and building or fostering, learning each other's love language. Sometimes you can give what you don't have. You can help others when you yourself, you are struggling. You can be comforting somebody when you are having your own pain. But ultimately, marriage is naked but not ashamed in front of each other. That's your husband and the wife. Respecting boundaries, knowing that anything can happen, but taking those steps to make sure that you don't fall into traps that you have not seen. Making sure that you don't go astray and destroy what you have initially made up your mind, taking the decision, both steps to go into. That is the marriage. Taking calculated risk. Everything is possible. Everything can be learned and everything can be unlearned. Compatibility is relative. I remain a woman with super crazy faith in God. I'm not saying that if you're being abused, if you're being killed, if you're being destroyed, if you're being demeaned in a relationship, stay in there. That's not what I'm talking about. you know what to do. To each one their own cross. But God knows best. May God's perfect will be done in our marriages. Thanks for watching. See you same time next week. Bye for now.